event where we would have no notice of it happening. And everyone knows about Joplin where the tornado hit them, but that's kind of a different category. But I always thought we'd have 5 minutes to get ready, and that was not the case because they knew they were getting 1 or 2 gunshot wounds, maybe 3, which is not a big deal for us in the middle of the night. And to have 20-some show up, it is just a game changer. And so we didn't have any planning. Initially, they developed a triage and a couple of resuscitation stations. One of the things that turned out to be important, and this is borne out in the literature from Israel, as well as our experience with the Continental crash in the late 1980s, where it was advantageous to form teams. In this case, the teams didn't necessarily stay together with the patient, but one person was assigned to each patient because no one can keep track of 22 patients, what they've had, what they need, they've gotten blood, what drugs they've gotten, do they need a CAT scan, if they had a CAT scan. No one can track all that. So a single person was assigned to each person.
So every morning, we have to meet in the command center at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we all have to bring down our numbers and what our discharges are and what's the plan for the day and who's the hot spot. And so because we've become such a high-functioning team now as a result of this, because we had to face each other. And then because the poor ED was holding our inpatients, we really were responsible for those inpatients, but we just didn't have any place to put them. We even had hall beds up on our patient floors trying to get some movement. And so we were used to going down to the ED and helping out the ED and bringing patients up. And then we cross-train my nurses in the burn trauma ICU to work in the emergency department. And they also respond to traumas and they respond to burns. And so because I think we fostered this team environment because the CNO said, you will all play nice in the sandbox. And we were just so used to, you know, at this point we have a wonderful working relationship and we know what the conditions are like down in the ED, and the nurses are used to responding to go down there.
In our disaster setup, we have a number of vests, and each vest has a 3x5 card tucked behind the title of the vest that has like the 10 things you need to do right now. They never had time to get any of that out. So this was all just instinctual, on the fly. The EMR issues I thought were going to be a problem, but didn't think they'd be as big a problem. And so I'm working on fixing those, as well as developing a method to get paper on clipboards on the beds of people, just to kind of track stuff better. But this essentially was just, reactive medicine at its finest. And one of the things that speaks best is the surgeons were like coming in expecting to have to sort everything out. And it wasn't that way. It was just like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, up they go. And but there was no time for any of that.
But again, because he makes us practice in the tabletops, we knew what was on the checklist, so we really didn't have to. And because we've had to rotate the roles, like once we could take a little, debrief and say, okay, do we think we've covered everything? Then we all,